Hello class 9th, I am Ashok, your English teacher, here present with part 2 of my childhood. In the previous video we had discussed first 4 paras of the text, in which we read about Abdul Kalam's parents and their socio-economical condition. We also read about his friends and nature of his parents. Today we will discuss about some more incidents which took place in his childhood, and these incidents are mentioned here in this chapter. So let's start the discussion from para number 5. During the annual Shri Sita Rama Kalyanam ceremony, our family used to arrange boats with a special platform for carrying idols of the Lord from the temple to the marriage site, situated in the middle of the pond called Rama Tirtha, which was near our house. Events from the Ramayana and from the life of the Prophet were the bedtime stories my mother and grandmother would tell the children in our family. So here one thing is to we understood that Ram Kalyanam ceremony is known as Kalyanamotsava. It means marriage festival. In South India, marriage is known as Kalyanam. So Lord Ram and Sita's marriage is called Sita Rama Kalyanam ceremony. It is the ceremony of the depiction of the marriage between Sita and Rama. So whenever Shri Sita Rama Kalyanam ceremony used to take place, APJ's family also took part in it. They used to arrange the boats for it. They used to make a special platform on the boats on which the statue of Ram and Sita were placed and transported from the temple to the marriage site, which was in the middle of a pond, and this pond's name was Ram Tirtha. This pond was near APJ's house. When he was growing up, he never thought that there was any difference between Hindus and Muslims, as they participated in the Hindu festival wholeheartedly. APJ says that they listened to stories from the Ramayana and the life of the Prophet from their mother and grandmother as bedtime stories. So they listened to the story of both Hindu gods and Muslim gods. There was no difference on grounds of religion. So this was there in this part. Now see the para number 6. One day when I was in the 5th standard at the Rameshwaram Elementary School, a new teacher came to our class. I used to wear a cap which marked me as a Muslim, and I always sat in the front row next to Ramananda Shastri, who wore the sacred thread. The new teacher could not stomach a Hindu priest's son sitting with a Muslim boy. In accordance with our social ranking, as the new teacher saw it, I was asked to go and sit on the back bench. I felt very sad, and so did Ramananda Shastri. He looked utterly downcast as I shifted to my seat in the last row. The image of him weeping when I shifted to the last row left a lasting impression on me. So some difficult words are there in this part. Could not stomach means could not tolerate. Downcast means sad or depressed. Now we will see what was there in this part of the text. As APJ Abdul Kalam belonged to a Muslim family, he used to wear a cap on his head which identified him as a Muslim. His friend Ramananda Shastri, who was the son of the priest of the Rameshwaram temple, belonged to a Hindu Brahmin family and used to wear the sacred thread worn by Brahmins. When the children were in class 5, a new teacher came to their class. APJ Kalam recalls an incident which happened then. This new teacher could not tolerate that a Hindu priest's son was sitting next to a Muslim boy. He told APJ to go and sit on the last bench, as he belonged to a lower rank of the society. Both the children felt very bad. When APJ changed his seat and went back and sat on the last bench, Ramananda felt very bad. APJ still remembers the image of his friend Ramananda crying. It felt a lifelong impression on Kalam of his friend's feeling for him. Now let's see what's there in para number 7. After school, we went home and told our respective parents about the incident. Lakshmana Shastri summoned the teacher and, in our presence, told the teacher that he should not spread the poison of social inequality and communal intolerance in the minds of innocent children. He bluntly asked the teacher to either apologize or quit the school and the island. Not only did the teacher regret his behavior, but the strong sense of conviction Lakshmana Shastri conveyed ultimately reformed this young teacher. So some difficult words meanings are: rigid means strict. Summoned is the word. It means called. Bluntly means speaking in a direct and honest way, even if this offends or upset people. Apologize means seek pardon. Quit means to leave. Conviction means a strong opinion or belief. Convey means communicate it. So these were some of the words which may be difficult for you in this para. So both children went home and told their parents about this incident, and Ramananda's father Lakshmana Shastri called the new teacher and scolded him. He told him not to kill the children's friendship by putting the venomous discrimination of caste and religious into their innocent minds. Lakshmana Shastri was very clear in himself. He told the teacher either he should feel sorry for the wrong he had done, or else he had to leave the school as well as Rameshwaram town also. The teacher asked sorry for the mistake he had done, and due to Lakshmana Shastri's determination, his thoughts about religion and caste changed. So this was there in this part of the text. Now we will see the next part. On the whole, the small society of Rameshwaram was very rigid in terms of the segregation of different social groups. However, my science teacher Shiva Subramaniam Iyer, though an orthodox Brahmin with a very conservative wife, was something of a rebel. He did his best to break social barriers so that people from varying backgrounds could mingle easily. He used to spend hours with me and would say, Kalam, I want you to delve so that you are on par with the highly educated people of the big cities. So in this part of the text there are some difficult words meaning. Rigid means strict, segregation means separation, orthodox means one who follows the religion strictly, conservative means traditional, rebel means in opposition, mingle means interact with each other or mixed up, on par means at the same level. The division of society into 4 groups, Brahmins, Kshatriyas, Vaishyas, Shudras, was strictly followed in Rameshwaram. Abdul Kalam's science teacher Shiv Subramania Iyer was a religious person, an orthodox Brahmin, what was a rebellious type of person. He did not believe in distinction on the basis of the caste system. He worked very hard to break these social barriers. He wanted that people of different castes should interact with each other. He encouraged APJ Abdul Kalam to work hard so that he could be at the same level as the highly educated people who lived in big cities. So this was there in this part of the text. Now see the next part. One day he invited me to his home for a meal. His wife was horrified at the idea of a Muslim boy being invited to dine in her ritually pure kitchen. She refused to serve me in her kitchen. Shiv Subramaniam Iyer was not perturbed, nor did he get angry with his wife, but instead served me with his own hands and sat down beside me to eat his meal. His wife watched us from behind the kitchen door. I wondered whether she had observed any difference in the way I ate rice, drank water, or cleaned the floor after the meal. When I was leaving his house, Shiva Subramaniam Iyer invited me to join him for dinner again the next weekend. Observing my hesitation, he told me not to get upset, saying, "Once you decide to change the system, such problems have to be confronted." When I visited his house the next week, Shiv Subramania Iyer's wife took me inside her kitchen and served me food with her own hands. So, some difficult words are there in this part of the text. Ritually pure means kept protected from all outside influences for the observances of religion. Then perturbed is another word. Perturbed means upset. Agitation means doubt. Confronted means faced or tackled. Now let's see what was there in this part of the text. Shiva Subramaniam Iyer's wife belonged to a traditional and orthodox Brahmin family. She followed the religion very strictly, and to keep the kitchen pure, no one from an inferior religion was allowed to enter the kitchen. When Shiva Subramania Iyer called APJ Abdul Kalam for dinner at his home, his wife feared that a boy from a Muslim family would make her kitchen impure. She refused to serve him food in her kitchen. Shiv Subramaniam Iyer was neither upset nor angry. He himself served food to APJ Abdul Kalam. And also sat down beside him to eat. His wife stood beside the kitchen door and looked at APJ while he was having food. APJ says that he doesn't think that she felt there was any difference in the way he was having his food, or the way he was drinking water, or in the way he cleaned the floor after the meal. He wants to highlight that the religion does not matter, as it does not alter the way in which a person eats food. When APJ was about to leave Shiva Subramaniam Iyer's house, he invited him for dinner once again. When Shiv Subramaniam Iyer saw that APJ Abdul Kalam was hesitant, he asked him not to be upset. He added that if he had decided to change the system and to go against the norms of the society, he had to be strong and brave and confront the situation. When he visited Shiv Subramania Iyer's home for dinner the next week, his wife made him sit in the kitchen and served him food with her own hands. This is the change that happened. Now let's see what is there in para numbers 10. Then the Second World War was over and India's freedom was imminent. Imminent means about to happen. Indians will build their own India, declared Gandhiji. The whole country was filled with an unprecedented optimism. I asked my father for permission to leave Rameshwaram and study at the district headquarters in Ramananthapuram. So, unprecedented means never done or no before. Optimism means hope or cheer. When the Second World War got over in the year 1945, India was about to get freedom, which happened in the year 1947. Gandhiji, known as the father of the nation, was a crucial part of India's freedom struggle. He said that Indians would build their own India. The entire country was filled with hope and happiness. Everyone was experiencing such a feeling which they had never felt before. Everyone was hoping that now they would get their freedom. APJ asked his father to allow him to go Rameshwaram, which was the district headquarters for higher studies. Now let's see what is there in the next part. He told me as if thinking aloud, Abul, I know you have to go away to grow. Does the seagull not fly across the sun alone and without a nest? He quoted Khalil Gibran to my hesitant mother. Your children are not your children. They are the sons and daughters of life's longing for itself. They come through you, but not from you. You may give them your love, but not your thoughts. So, his father told him that he knew that APJ needed to go away so that he could move ahead in life. He gave the example of a seagull which flies away in the sky all alone and does not have a nest. It means it does not have a home of its own, as it keeps on flying from one place to another. When APJ's mother came to know that he was about to leave home and wanted to go to Ramananthapuram for higher study, she got upset. APJ's father tried to calm her down and told her a few lines from a famous poem titled Your Children, written by Khalil Gibran. He said that your children are not your children. They are the children of life. Don't think that you can rule your children. They are a result of life's desire for itself. They have their own thoughts. He asked her to give them freedom to fulfill their thoughts. So this was there in this part of the text. Now you have to write the complete summary of the chapter, and you have to note down the difficult words meanings also. Textual questions have been already discussed, so do write them in your notebooks also. Thanks. That's all for today. Have a nice day.